Hey folks, how are you? How everyone is doing? I know it's Monday morning. It's very hard for those who those who want to wake up early. But yeah, how are you doing? Let me drop some of the comments. So I'm seeing Ashutosh. Yeah, great. Thanks Shiva for came here. Yeah, thanks Shiva. Okay, cool. Zakir is here. Shashwat is here. Yeah, good morning Shashwat. Good morning Shashwat. Hey Lakshya. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Ashwin is also here. Hi, Ashwin, for joining from the morning. I know you've been in the Court Day, Mumbai. I hope so. It's went well. So yeah, I didn't take much time, but I'm just seeing to maybe to get some people, more people around it. Till then, you can share like, are you a campus expert? Are you not? Or are you a leader from any community? Drop down. Maybe that will be better, and maybe I just play you can do some kind of music, I guess, to be will be better for you, maybe. Yeah, yeah, it's great, it's going great. Yeah, great. Hi Daniel, how are you? Hi Daniel. Vinayak is also here. Yeah, great. Hi Harshit. Hey Ashutosh. Great. Cool. Try to share the stream link with everyone else because it's very special thing. We try to destructure the whole program that is created by one and only John Pa. But we will try to ask you any. It's a more of focus on a Q&A kind of side. But we try to explain about the what are the power of this actually of this program. So yeah, great, cool, great. Vedant is also here. Hi Vedant. Hi Dheeraj. Cool. So let's get start with it. Let me go to the cool. So let me stop the music then. Yeah, it will be better. Yeah. So let me bring to the man himself, John Pa, aka John Pablo Flores, and yeah, here is our man. Yeah, hi John, how are
Hey!
you?
Thank you so much for having me today. Good morning to everyone on the other half of the world. Here is uh, a little bit late in the night on Sunday, but happy to be joining you. I was really vibing with the music that you had. I don't know, just like getting into the right mood before jumping in the stream.
No, I guess people are also loving the music, and I hope so. People are really excited for the stream, and yeah, even though I graduated, but I thought of maybe I love to give back to the community in some or another way. Even though I kind of reduce the virtual community work, but like I'm trying to give back to the community as much as possible. But thanks, Joanpa, for basically accept our invitation to join on live. Thanks for that. And hey bro, okay, cool, great, okay, cool, yeah. Hey Toki, thanks for that. Yeah, cool. So yeah, hey folks, yeah. Hi
Really
Ishu,
hope
how are
that
you? How is
the red flag is for the program, not because this show is going to be a red flag or something, but um, pushing out for that.
cool. So maybe let's get started with it. So starting from the basic question, maybe what is GitHub Campus Expert? But before going to that,
Yeah.
maybe John, if you have or Wanpa, if you have any introduction from your side, even
Yeah.
though everyone knows you, but like a small intro from your side so that we can get kick
Uh,
started with it.
I mean, hopefully not everyone knows me, or if they do for the best. But yeah, no. My name is Juan Pablo Flores. I'm a senior program manager here at the GitHub education team, and yeah, my role has to do a lot with like student developer programs across the globe. Some of that is GitHub Campus Experts. I help there as well with other initiatives within GitHub. And essentially, my job is to connect with people who, just like you, are making some great community events that are kind of like pushing other folks into, just like making great contributions to those communities. And we want to make sure that you have resources and support to make that happen. And the best way that we have found to do that is by building this thing called the GitHub Campus Experts program, which I'm very excited to see some familiar names here in chat of like people who are part of the program, people that we know have applied to the program as well. So really excited that you're all here today joining us.
Thanks, Johan. And maybe we try to restructure the whole program that you created. But before that, I know many people don't know. Like John is also one of the GitHub Campus Expert early when Joe Nash was a program manager, I guess. So, but again,
Yeah.
seeing the people who are been in the community and been now try to work on that program, that's really inspiring as well. Because I also know, because I'm also in Postman community as a student leader, then I become an intern over there, so like that. So it's always inspires me also how people are basically get involved with the community over that side. But from your point of view, how been the journey, like from field expert to now as a maybe contract basis, then going as a full time at GitHub? So how's the experience over that point? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you need to take a couple of steps back, and when I was back in college, I was very lucky to be exposed to events and to people that were organizing really cool stuff. And at that time, unfortunately, for example, I'm not that old though, but at that time, like hackathon culture was not the type of like big thing that it is today, right? So back in the day, I was working with the student society back in my college because I was very interested in kind of like contributing back to the university. I come from a public university back in Mexico. I was very fortunate to go through this education because it's, you know, compared to like other stuff going around, like it's good education. It was essentially very cheap compared to like other competitors or other competing universities. And I was very lucky to have the opportunity to study at the university. And at the same time, I was involved with some developer communities that were being born at that time. And I kind of like found that uh, sometimes what we were being taught at college was very different from what kind of like the industry was looking forward. And I wanted to help kind of like bring everything that was going outside within my campus so that people could at least know of the existence of these other tools, of these other programming languages that they could explore. And even like professionally, most of us were kind of like really focused on being developers, but there's like so many different ways of being a developer. Like you can do like AI, or you can there's so many specializations that you can do, and that I felt at that time that were not covered in my school curricula. So for me, it was like a great way to contribute back to my university. It helped me get to know some extraordinary people through time. And I would say like one of the biggest things that at that time was that we organized the first student developer hackathon in the country. So it was extremely overwhelming because nowadays when you say hackathons, people already kind of like know what they are all about. But at that time, it was not only about talking about like what a hackathon is, or about like the structure of the hackathon, but it's like the essence of like what a hackathon is, not only for participants but for sponsors as well. So I would go like to companies and we were knocking doors on like, hey, like we would love your support for this first event, and if you have organized events, that like getting sponsorship is one of those like really stressful parts of organizing events. And for me, it was like a great time to kind of like bring people to learn what a hackathon was. And it was really hard for people to understand that the student developers would pass an entire weekend coding really fun and extraordinary projects in 24-36 hours. So a lot of my job at the time was showing people what a hackathon was, kind of like how it all worked. And it was through that work that I met John and Swift from MLH. And at that time, MLH was like 8 employees, like it was a super small company. And I joined MLH kind of like, we were talking about organizing this first event in Mexico, and they kind of like supported us to organize the first hackathon in the country. And we decided that this was something that we wanted to continuously grow in other parts of Mexico as well. So we can like I joined MLH, as at that time it was called a what was he called? A commissioner. So I kind of like I was the Mexican commissioner for MLH, and my job was kind of like supporting students that were organizing hackathons into making those events happen in different like cities. The first hackathon that we organized was small, like at that time, like 80 people attending a hackathon was a big deal, but now it's just like whatever, I think. And what Ashwin is making a question here about the hackathon name. It was MX Hacks, and it's a great question because we were very much inspired by a hackathon in the US called MHacks, and MHacks at that time was organized by Dave Fontenot, who now is like a complete like tech rock star. And oh, it's so interesting because I remember like Cassidy Williams at that time. She was a student as well. So like I met Cassidy when she was like a student, and she was like going through hackathons and all that jazz. But essentially, at the end, I became a commissioner. I started working. We grew kind of like a lot of the hackathon culture in the country, and then I said that I wanted to finish college, and I went back to study because like working and studying was a little bit hard at that time. I went back to school and I started doing research because research for me was like a lot of fun, and we got some great support from Amazon when they just like acquired Twitch to understand better like what their audiences would look like. So I got a summer internship in Carnegie Mellon doing something called audience participation games, which is like how do you bring the audience from your live stream, from like the chat into the live stream, and kind of like how can we build better dynamics on that. And it was during my time at Carnegie Mellon that I get an email from Joe, which I met through MLH, and he was like, hey, I'm doing like this really fun new program called the GitHub Campus Experts, would you like be like interested? And I think for me the real core of like joining Campus Experts at that time is that it was a program that pretty much aligned with what I was already doing in my school. I was already working to make my school better in any way that I could. And it sounded like a really great opportunity for not only me to represent my school in the program, but also since it was like the launch of the program, I thought that it was like a great opportunity as well to bring some representation, because it's not fairly common to see that Mexico or Latam as a whole is considered for like program launches. And probably some folks here in chat might feel the same way, where you see these amazing programs and amazing opportunities, but unfortunately you don't have, you're not in a country where these type of support or things are happening. And it's kind of like heartbreaking when you see a lot of value, but you're not able to be part of that because of the country that you were born. So I wanted to make the most opportunity, the opportunity to bring representation about like Mexico. And kind of like I also felt a lot of like pressure because I was like the only person in Latam that was part of the program. So I felt like I needed to represent the region the best possible, and that was a lot of imposter syndrome of like I met some extraordinary people through that first batch. I met like Amy Deakins, who now she does a lot of accessibility stuff. I don't know, there were like 12 of us in that first like batch, and they're all doing like some amazing work right now. And then it was me, who I was just like, yeah, let's do like hackathons, it's fun. So I met this extraordinary group of people, and after I became a campus expert, I kind of like took the role of like, how can I bring more people to be part of this? Not only because the program was like amazing, but because I really was like the only one in the country. So I felt pretty like lonely, and I wanted to have more friends joining, and some other people joined. Luis Robles, he was in the north of the country. I lived in the central part of the country. He joined a few months afterwards, and he's someone that I like even today. Like we talk every once in a while, and we catch up about life and how much we have grown. And I think that's something that really kind of like inspired me to really make sure that I make like contributions to the program. So, and what I mean by that is like I wanted to make sure that people that joined from Mexico didn't have the same experience that I have of like, hey, I don't belong here. I don't feel like that I can contribute. So for me, I made like a very personal commitment of like I want to make sure that people that join from Latam they feel that they deserve to be here, and that was my jump in there. I help in a lot of like different parts of the program, and then one day I was lucky enough to get like a message of like, hey, are you interested in taking this opportunity? And I took it to go. It was in a very kind of like hard time because I was already starting my own company, and I was like, okay, I can like do my company, or I can join this program that is very unique and very cool. So I ended up deciding on taking over like the program and stop kind of like the company for a while, and I joined GitHub for a couple of years as a contractor. So I was not like GitHub staff. I was kind of like just another contractor in a sea of contractors. And now I'm fortunate enough to be like a full-time employee at GitHub. But it was not something that happened like in 3 days. It's something that happened like in 3 years.
Like it's always inspiring, John. Like sometimes I think like I get a mirror image of mine in some because while well, I guess many of the community leaders share some or other experience in a common way. That what like even I have a talk with Ashwin when I first met him in person. So we got a lot of thing common over that point of time. We got like we share some same kind of struggle while we are in the code day Nagpur. We were talking about the same stuff like, okay, yeah, this thing has happened with me too, man. Like this is happening with majorly. So like a lot of connects happened with me because again, maybe we are connected by community, but maybe joined by the same problem solving mindset, I guess maybe I can say, because we are always there for us. But yeah, always inspiration. I want to listen you over that thing. But maybe let's see to deep dive into the main topic. Maybe that's why the people join. That is GitHub Campus Expert program.
Mhm.
What is GitHub Campus Expert program, John? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, after that long story about my life, the Campus Expert program is a program that we built at GitHub to help community leaders or kind of like students that are organizing events, community events, any type of like group or club to have the resources that you might need to start a community and make sure that you have an impact in your campus. We put a lot of effort into the core of what a community is. I don't know about you folks, but for me, like I learned about communities by experience. So no one gave me like a guide. No one gave me like these are some best practices. Essentially, I jumped into it and tried to find out things on my own. And it's a good way of learning, but it's better if there's anyone to give you a direction and guide you through what are some core principles that will make sure that you have not only a fantastic community, but also you're making sure that there is an impact and there is kind of like a reason why a community is needed in your school. And the program essentially focuses on that, on giving you those core skills to make sure that you have a great community at your school. And through time, we also learned that communities are a great way to learn, but that only happens if everyone has access to the learning resources. So a big part of the program is making sure that people from different backgrounds have the possibility to be part of these communities. So making sure that your community is accessible, that it is diverse, that people feel represented. It was is one of the core dynamics of the whole program, just to make sure that there's a lot of people that probably even today they don't feel that they belong in tech or they don't see themselves reflected. And even if they are a minority in your specific geography, these communities might serve as a great place for you at least to get started and find somewhere where you belong. And the whole idea behind the program is making sure that you all have the resources and the knowledge that you might need to make all of that happen.
Like when we say like we are talking about minorities and stuff, and like a lot of trying to talk with some of the transgender community here at my place. Like I get a lot of things, like they always ask for me, why community? Like
Yeah.
why it makes difference to basically being in community. And maybe they don't have a like with a regular education, like in general what where regular education, we go to the schools, then college, and then we graduate, and then we get a job.
Hmm.
But some of the folks, or maybe some of the peeps had didn't have a maybe that kind of a leverage also, basically in some areas, that what I saw. So what you think, or what your thought process behind why, like in general also, why, like many students also ask to me, so why community, why it makes a lot of sense. Is it just doing community management, or it is other stuff, like
Mm.
so many aspects came into play. But so what's the thought process behind it? Like why community, like why people should join a community, or what is the like maybe not benefits I will say, but what if anyone asks like why community, or if you go into a random place and maybe someone asks, okay,
Hmm.
you're handling community, so why you are handling community? So
Yeah.
maybe on that perspective, maybe, yeah.
No, and I agree. Sometimes communities become kind of like this buzzword in tech of like, yeah, I have my product and I have my community, and it's just like a forum somewhere. And I think like communities have some specific characteristics that make them work really good. One of them is, first of all, bring in people. There's like multiple circles of proximity in a community, and what I mean by that is you have the core team, which is like people who are heavily involved and making a lot of contributions to that community. Then you have people that are kind of like involved, like they're there to help out, but they might not want to like dedicate their a lot of time on it. And then you have people that might be, instead of like someone very active in the community, are people who join to kind of like learn and kind of explore technology. And the whole idea behind communities in particular is that they are one of these structures, these social structures that really help out to set up those dynamics and have a bigger impact on those colleges. Um, One of the challenges of like communities is that unfortunately communities are hard to manage, and compared to, for example, to other type of social groups, let's say a club. A club is kind of like a small group, small audience type of like situation. So the whole idea of a club is that, you know, it's a little bit more tight knit and more focused, but also clubs tend to be more exclusive. Communities tend to be more inclusive in the approach of like who can join a community. If you hear like a club, normally it means like, hey, you need to have some sort of membership. And in communities, there's like membership as well, but it is more open to more diverse perspectives than probably a club might have.
Okay, and maybe also just wanted to put in, folks, if you have any question regarding anything around GitHub Campus Expert, you can drop down in the chat. Otherwise, I have a like kind of maybe a section of Twitter questionnaire, maybe on that point, where what are the question that you reach out, like it just thing like I'm doing a podcast thing, but yeah, I'm not doing that, but I'm just asking some of the questions from your side also. There's some people also said that I shared in a backstage also, like if there's already a campus expert in maybe in their campuses, or maybe they are just in a trainee form, so should they apply for GitHub Campus Expert or not, or like what are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
I mean, I would recommend to apply. We still review kind of like each of the applications that we receive, depending on the type of communities within the college, because like we also consider the size of the college in order to grow or do more. Because some campus experts where you know, if you're part of a big college and you're the only campus expert, it can be overwhelming to serve a big community with just like one person. So essentially anyone, I would recommend for you to apply, and our team will take a look into it. But we try to keep it we try to keep one campus expert per campus in order to make sure that we also distribute the benefits of the program to as many people as possible, right? We try to stop kind of like concentrating campus experts in a single like city or in a single college, and kind of like distribute that geographically so that anyone and everyone has a campus expert close to them.
Nice one. So Okay, there's no any campus explore. So there, I guess Harshit asking, there's no any GitHub campus explore in my region. Yeah, then you should apply for it. That it's great. You should apply. Even the links for the program or where you can apply is in the description box. You can check it out, folks. And yeah, so Marcy, I have a question.
Mhm.
What kind of qualities are essential to be a campus expert?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we added a little bit more about that in the GitHub docs that we just released about how to apply to the program. So, would highly recommend that you check the new docs that we released. But essentially, it's everything that we just talked about in the intro of the show, right? Like the whole idea of the application process. It's not so much kind of like it's not a test that you can pass, but rather is finding if the campus expert program is the right fit for your community needs and if we're going to be able to support your community in the best way possible. I think nowadays, even nowadays, especially after the pandemic, there's no need for any student to be part of a program in order to start a community. So you don't need to be a campus expert to start your community or to maintain a community, though we try our best to support folks that have certain specific community needs for us to jump in and support those communities and make sure that you have those resources. We talked about, I think even like you mentioned that at the middle, right? Like when you talk with Ashwin and you talk with other campus experts, you find out that you have similar problems, similar struggles, and that's why for us it's so important because we would love to have as many students as possible, but we understand that we have a very specific type of like the student that we're able to support. And if we're not the best people to support you, I'm sure there's like other ways that you can connect with that we can connect you with other people. But what we do is that we kind of like we're very good with a specific like audience, and at the same time we want to make sure that folks that are getting into the program are making the most out of the benefits that they have available. So that's why we have like this whole application, this whole application system cycle type of thing. Is we want to make sure that we are distributing these resources to kind of like people that are going to make the most out of them.
Just want to add also, peeps don't go just for the sake of the program. Um, Try to showcase that you are really passionate about community. You are really passionate about people. You are really love to basically help the people around in your community. Um, yeah, I can share some of the example. Like maybe my example is maybe the perfect one. Maybe like basically I apply first time, I rejected. Like I guess to the go to the I guess last round, but due to the interview stuff that I love to say I love to, from the GitHub education team, that I got a feedback also on that thing why I rejected actually. So yeah, it's always a transparency thing. It's not like that you are rejected something regarding due to that, but you got a perfect reason about it. So I just
Yeah,
wanted to try to be real and try to show how why are you passionate about community, how you are passionate about community. Like generally that I can add something over it. Everyone try to show the problems, no one show the problem solution. What are the solution that can you provide? I can say if you are applying for the campus expert, and like if they say maybe in my time, like I guess I don't know the form is changed or not, but they
mhm.
I guess general question will be shared struggle, right? So sharing about the struggle, maximum people what they tell about, they share about the problems. They are not telling about, yeah, this is the problem and this is the solution I have. If I become the thing, so if I become the GC, then I may be able to solve in this way. And like so try to be in a more constructive way over that point, and try to be collaborate with other people. It's really really important. And yeah, there's one more question, like from Ashutosh, I guess. Is it necessary to run a community to qualify as a campus expert, or empower the fellow mates about the technology that is loving to teach also counts?
So in general, it's a lot about like teaching folks. So we do mention communities because of the structure that they provide, and unfortunately, what we found is that when we have a kind of like a single point of contact, like it's not a community based type of approach. Um, it's really hard to. It becomes kind of like very centralizing one single person. So communities do help kind of like dilute the benefits of the program to more people, and that's kind of like essentially one of the biggest benefits. If you're kind of like not, if you don't have like a community, if you have like a group of people that you're working with, that is extraordinary. Like that's kind of like great for us. um, Community, remember, it's also kind of like a structure. I want you to see communities as a tool to achieve a specific goal. So it's never the end goal to have a community, but rather is like, how is having a community helping me out to achieve the goals that I want to achieve or that I want to make. So I think one of the most common common things that we see in the application process is that we hear that it is like the community is the end goal of like becoming a campus expert. Like, I want to start a community on XYZ, and it's like, okay, that's cool. Um, but when you talk specifically about like the struggles of your community, I think the best thing that you can do is reach out to some of your friends at your school and talk to them, and make them some questions about what are the things they would like to see in their college. Most often, folks would go through the application process on their own, and that pretty much biases your perspective on what problems your school or your community might have and how you can solve them. So I think a lot of the some of the best like applications that we've seen is people that really take their time to talk with their community, talk with other students, find how they can like do things better, and then think of like if a community is the right approach to solve those problems. And that has worked really, really well. And I think Ashwin, I don't remember if it was like on a campus expert call, or if it was kind of like something another call, but I remember Ashwin saying like, just like you, like he got rejected the first time, and he really took the time to rethink about what he wanted to do as a campus expert. And when he applied the second time, I remember his application was like extraordinarily well put together, and it made a lot of sense. So uh, it I think there's a lot of learning from that. The first one is, if you get rejected from any program, not only campus expert, you can always like apply again. It should not be like, don't take it personal. There's so many different things that go into this application process, and if there's anything that you can improve, I'm pretty sure the team will reach out and tell you how that can be improved. um, but yeah, I think I forgot what the real question was, but essentially, yes, there's a lot of ways that you can have like a great application to the program. And
Yep.
making when you write like everything in the application, try to be as specific as possible about your community in particular, because a lot of the times we don't see that depth on the application.
Yeah, so there's a question from Harshit, I guess. I created an open source community in my college and also organized 5 to 6 workshop and hackathon. But now I try to find the community or company who can else or sponsors for the amazing event like hackathon and technical session. Can you
Hmm.
please give me any tips to basically approach? Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a great question. Right now, I think the market is very crazy, but
really, really crazy.
I what I've learned of other students is that by continuously doing some great work, invite like companies to join and join your activities to see kind of like the value, and then they can see how they can be part of it. So I understand like you might want to protect your community from like companies and stuff, but if you bring them to give like a talk and they see the awesome projects that you're creating, then you can have like more conversations of like, hey, probably not sponsorship, but it's like, hey, we're organizing a workshop. Would you be up to like giving some pizzas or some drinks or beverages for the event? And that's kind of like how you can start building that up. But I think right now it's I like that companies are not as scared as before about open source, and they have really they now see the value of getting more involvement in open source.
Yeah, I guess Rizal is also here. Hi, Rizal. I hope you're doing well.
It's super late for you,
Yeah.
Rizal. What are you doing like this late connected in a stream?
Yeah, I guess maybe I don't know how she came, but yeah, I really love to see you on the I love to see you on the chat side. So yeah, thank you for joining. Yeah, yeah. So maybe let ask me some Twitter questions. Maybe that will be better, I guess,
Mhm.
to initiate better. Yeah. So Abhishek Bhattacharya is asking, what specifically should be included in the video? Like, I guess it's around two thing maybe. So
Hmm.
yeah.
It's a great question. I think the video is is all about you and kind of like what are your goals in the program. So my recommendation is just being very honest. We see a lot of the times people overthink what to put in the video, and this comes from imposter syndrome of like having a video. But just be very honest with who you are, what you want to do. We're not looking forward for you to have like a Hollywood production. We're just looking forward to learn more about you. So don't worry if you don't have like a super great camera for the recording. We have folks from across the globe that apply from multiple devices. And what we really want to do is I don't really we don't really review if you put titles or sparkles on your video, but rather if we really get to know you better and kind of like how are we going to be able to support you in the program. So my best piece of advice is be very honest with the video, and you know I would say like even if you can like creativity is always very welcomed, but at the most is like we want to get to know you, your personality, what you want to do in order to go through the application to become a campus expert.
Great. Next question. I guess it will. I guess it is already asked. Can be there more than one campus except from single campus? So I guess you give the
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
for
we've
that.
we've touched on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Next question from Tokir only. How many numbers of words are ideal that used in the answer? Do they need to be more much elaborative? Like, yeah.
I don't know how many words. It's not a I don't know. It's not what we're looking forward to. Like my recommendation is uh, just like any open source communication, be give enough context, but also don't make it super long. Uh, so make sure that in the written application or the video, give us enough context about yourself, but at the same time, make sure that you are not super long in that context or providing that context. So you know, be short and sweet with your responses.
Yep. Yeah, there's also one question from here chat. Hey, can you please tell if you are applying right now for GC, what point you're going to highlight most?
Well, I'm not applying right now, but Chad, take it to go.
Yeah, so again, Arav, if I will share you on that basis, try to be. I shared this thing a lot of time, even though. Uh,
Yeah.
try to share your work, I guess, in learn in public. If we say in open source, we all try to always say like learn in public, have a concept behind it. And if you're doing, maybe if you are writing up, if you're building a project, write a blog about it, maybe write maybe record a video about it and put it on the socials. I guess that is the best way. Basically, you can interact with the community, they will get you a feedback over that basis. And even if those who, even any community manager, maybe those who are building in general any program, because I am being into devrel, I know the how everything works over that. So they need some passionate leaders at the end of the day. Even
Mhm.
if I've been also in the postman, I am basically handle the student leaders program. I know they, we need, if we choose an application, it's more focus on how you are really passionate about the community. That is the first part. And how you're implementing to it. Like
Yeah.
when everyone say I'm passionate about community, I'm passionate about community, but how will you improve that? Maybe what you can do, that you can host the events, right?
Yeah.
You can host the hackathons, organize the hackathons. So yeah, maybe
It's a
John,
good
if you want to add
goal
something.
because I feel that in many ways we end up having very superficial knowledge about like applicants in most of the cases, and that sucks because like we do this whole thing just to get to know you better. So
Yep.
try to you know try to do things that make your application stand out and unique. And what I mean by that is I understand you're passionate. Like if you're applying for the program, most likely you're passionate about community. But tell me like why, and tell me, a little bit about like what your experience has been with your current community or other communities, and tell me what your experience is at college and how you're planning to how can we help you out to make your campus a little bit better? Most of the times we hear like, you know, folks that are saying like, oh, I want to organize events with my community. Is like, okay, that's amazing, but tell me more. Like, which events would you like to organize? How do you see this whole thing going on? So a lot of that is making your application stand out and making sure that also it's kind of like in some sort of way unique and specific to where you're currently at.
So basically, what you have to do, basically, folks, if I will say, if John Pai is reviewing your like generally John Pai is only reviewing the whole answers, so you have to basically give a movie kind of thing about your area, like what is going on. Like try to. I am not saying more on elaborative end, but basically write this much so that able to understand about actually what is the scenario is going on around you and how you're working over it. That's the major thing. Like if suppose if there is any movie director, maybe Christopher Nolan, if I will say, and if we basically try to imagine about the maybe the space thing or space orient thing from his brain, and when everyone say like Nolan movies is like kind of really good, like as experience point of view also. So that is the if he's a person who basically share his creativity about what he is want to try to showcase or she wants to try to showcase over that point, anyone basically, I'm just saying here. So that is the best thing. And I will say two parts to the thing. If there is no community, try to build one community. But if there is a community in your region, try to volunteer. What I am seeing right now, many people try to become leaders, but they don't want the scratch work basically. If we
Hmm.
are leading a community, we all also are volunteer. Like it's good to be a leader, it's great to be a leader. I'm not saying you don't become leader, but you have to know the basics about how everything goes, how in and out goes. So you need to do volunteer for. That's my, even if I will say, like I'm not saying don't go for leaders, don't go for a community and don't become a leader, I'm not saying. But you know the value what you are adding to it. If you didn't know how is everything goes, I know I build I'm not saying I build a fantastic community, but I can create that community. Why? Because I'm also volunteer 2 to 3 years back.
Hmm.
I've been involved with the communities, I've been involved with the events and hackathons. So I know what is going in and out. So I have an understanding about it. That's why I'm able to sustain my community till now. That is the reason. And yeah, there's one question from Kushal, I guess. My campus doesn't have any campuses, so it is possible to have. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I guess Nishchit hacks. I don't have any own community, but I am also part of other communities. So can I able to apply for GC? Maybe John, if you want to give an answer for that, even though I
Yeah.
shared it, but yeah.
So yeah, I mean, owning a community is a very interesting concept. But I would say more than owning is like if you're part of a community and you think that you can get support from us, feel free to like jump in and apply. The only thing that is important to consider is that these communities should be like a student community. So make sure that it's something around like student around your campus, around like learners as well. So we're able to support. If it's kind of like a professional developer community, unfortunately, that's a little bit beyond our scope of work. But definitely, there's other ways that other teams at GitHub, and I know Rethel here from the DevRel team. She might know better about like how GitHub can supports like other communities. But yeah, no, definitely you can apply. You don't need to be like the leader or the owner. And I agree with Kartike about it. Like, don't think of there's sometimes like this feeling of like people pushing to be a leader, and a lot of the times we forget about like the basics. Like, you people try to be like these thought leaders about communities and thought leaders about the technology, and I think we forget a lot of the times about like who is in charge of organizing the event and what do we do to make sure that people come, and and just sometimes like leadership might give the wrong understanding of like what building these communities are, and a lot of people try to get like into leadership positions. I would say contributing to a community is already enough, like making sure that you're part of any type of like student or university type of community or groups. That should be more than enough. And especially, there's a lot of ways that you can contribute, not only through leading the community, but also like making sure there's like all the other parts of a community being working like effectively.
Yeah, even like I and Siddharth have a talk for the same, like about this thing only because like we are not restricting you to do not become a leader, but you have to lead a team, and if you don't have a core basic knowledge or maybe foundation, you are not foundationally correct while you are building your team. It's also hamper your team because there are multiple reasons like. Try to be in community, try to understand how it works, because two things is important. First thing, if you're not able to because I saw many people are not able to understand actually community, what is this community, because when my in our time I didn't know community, I do wrong stuff, but Aditya Obara is the one who basically correct me, no bro, you are not doing it the correct way, it is required, like yeah, it's okay, but the point is, are you able to take it as a feedback? Many people are not doing that. So
Mm,
I'm just saying, try to deep dive into the basically when we say, if we talk about maybe Steve Jobs,
mm,
he's basically into the low level stuff also, because he would talk with the people, how it's going, is it going great, and maybe assembly line kind of thing. While it's so it's more on a like a kind of a startup side, I'm just saying. But yeah, you have to know the basically what people needs of your community. Otherwise, you're not able to run it properly. Also, if you're not able to understand the people around you, maybe you're not able to understand the team that you are basically carrying off, because again, if you're carrying a team, they have something, somewhat kind of inspiration to you, that they are seeing you as a, like a leader. So it's also come out the responsibility also simultaneously, how you're able to pull off everything in a maybe in a better way, I guess. But yeah, so there's one more question I guess from question. So here is a scene in my college. They don't give other organization permission to mail us on the campus mail. So I had recently got to know how to get a developer. So I'm eligible to apply.
mm. Yeah, well, if you have any trouble with the student developer pack, please let us know. We're
Yeah,
trying our best to make sure that it is providing access to as many students as possible. And if you run into any trouble, you can reach out. We have github.com/community, and there we have like a GitHub discussion where you can let us know if you're experiencing any trouble, and someone from the team can jump in and help you out. And otherwise, you can also submit a support ticket. Uh,
yep,
but I like discussions a little bit more because you might not be the only one that is kind of going through the same issue, and that's a
yep,
great way to, if someone else is having the same problem, to bring everyone together and communicate in one single like space instead of like everyone
yep.
individually.
And we will drop the links maybe after the end of the session, or maybe Dheeraj is in the backside, so he's handling the backstage. Maybe he will add something to the description box. Maybe you can check in 5 to 10 minutes, maybe, so you can
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah, great. Now maybe not kind of a maybe kind of a last question you can say, John. Why GitHub Campus Expert program? Why it makes special from other programs? You can say why.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. For me, Campus Expert has a very unique component of, we really try to build and help you folks to build a community. And this goes beyond just like Git and GitHub. In essence, what we are trying to achieve with the program is to make sure that anyone has, first of all, like access to a community, and second of all, making sure that you folks develop those skills that you might need before you graduate. And that comes in different shapes and sizes. So you folks are the ones. It doesn't make any sense for us to say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to like Cardica's like university and I'm gonna tell them what they need to know, because that makes absolute no sense. We put a lot of trust on the students that are part of the program, and that's why probably like the application process, we don't have a super big program, because a lot of these of the things that we do are based on trust and are based on making sure that you'll have like access to those resources. The campus expert program is very unique in a sense of like, it's not only about Git and GitHub, um, but it's much more about you and your community. And I think that's what makes the program very unique. Of course, like we really appreciate when you give like Git and GitHub workshops, or if you give like a Python or a JavaScript thing and you can include something from GitHub, that's super appreciated. But essentially, I think is one of the very few programs that really want to make sure that you folks have the best community possible, and that you come out with as much knowledge about what's out there as possible. And I think for me, that's what makes the program very, very unique. Again, unfortunately, that also makes us a very small program. We have, I think, like 200 campus experts right now, a little over 200 campus experts. Uh, but that's by design. Like, we are not a program that benefits from being massive. We benefit from making sure that the right people are part of it, and that's how we roll with all of these.
By the way, I'm the advocate of GitHub Campus Expert program. I'm really a big advocate. So like, please apply for it because like, it gets me a lot of opportunity you never think of. Like, I will never think of being a part of field day. It's one of the best experience I have. Hackon is also MLH Hackon is also happened. So I'm in the booth at GitHub Education booth. I love to talk with Orko and like many people from GitHub team, like Totem. So it's also always an amazing opportunity for me. And when I'm talking with the, I guess, Dheeraj is one of the, I guess, they are handling from the education ministry side, basically to color team with the GitHub team, I guess. So when I
Mhm.
got to know, I'm just talking with him, and he just said my first event, that is OctoCat, that like on that time we did, and basically related to GitHub, basically a 4 day kind of basically thing, where we basically taught about GitHub open source and how to use maybe in a readme form, and like kind of we has 4 days thing. And when he
Mhm.
just said like, this is the program, yeah, I know you. And I really shocked to see, because no, like in general, even though many people know me in that term, but maybe if he called me on that, like, this is a 4 day session that you did, and I really amazed with that. Same thing happened with me. Hackon gave me an opportunity basically to meet Swift in person, so that's also another thing for me to plus one to that thing. And
Yeah.
even though I didn't able to meet John, but I have a podcast with John. Those who are listening to us, you can watch it on our OpenCo channel only. I did a podcast with John about the local communities, actually, where we talk about the local communities basically. And you can find me. John is also featured in that podcast. So yeah, basically it's a amazing opportunity for me.
Oh no, is that my internet?
Am I audible now?
Yeah,
It's
you're right. You're
maybe
right.
it's
Yeah.
my.
Don't
I'm
worry about it.
really really sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know how it happened. So yeah. Yeah, I guess there's one more question, I guess. uh yeah, I'm also waiting for GitHub Octantship. Yeah, I guess Ashwin is the best person to basically check him out, like maybe he's handling that. But I guess it's open soon. I didn't know it's open or not till now.
Yeah.
But we are getting a discussion in team, in basically community also, but yeah, we will see. Yeah.
No, definitely. I think OpenShape is gonna. This is one of those programs that I'm very excited about. It's gonna solve a lot of like issues of, these kind of like egg and chicken type of thing of, I don't have like professional experience before I graduate, but they are
Yeah.
asking me for experience before I graduate. So, uh, for those who don't know, the GitHub Octantship program is essentially how can you get access to paid opportunities. They can be an open source or even in companies. Um, the program is going to start in March, early March, as far as I can tell. Ashwin, you can correct me here in chat if I'm saying anything that it's not. Uh, but in essence, the whole idea of the program is to provide a more uh, better access for anyone to pay opportunities. And for you folks, if you're interested, you can also kind of like learn from really cool companies which have partnered with us to get that professional experience that might be like very valuable, and learn from them. And you're getting paid to learn, which I think is the best kind of like combination that there can be. um, and yeah, I highly recommend you can go to education.github.com/octantships and check that out. The program is new, so you can be part of like the first batch of Octans that are part of these events.
Please folks, do apply. It's like, it's open a lot of opportunity for you also, because I guess it's more focused on the open source stuff also, because I guess open source, it's more focused on open source repository, I guess. Maybe like, maybe I guess Apprite is also there. I saw the Apprite logo. Maybe Apprite will be there. And yeah, maybe you love to see Aditya over there, and you have a chat with him. uh
Yeah.
okay, so So can you please list down GitHub program, Campus Expert, GitHub Opera?
Oh my
So
god, there's so many of them.
yeah.
um,
By the yeah, you can add it, John. Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard, but we also have GitHub Global Campus. So essentially, all of like the content that campus experts are creating, events, there's even like open source repositories that have been created by other students and that are looking for maintainers, contributors, people to help out, are part of Global Campus. And everything that we're doing, electronship, campus experts. We also have the campus program, which is like more for schools. All of these is centralized in Global Campus. So even like the GitHub discussions that we talked about in the past, like those that are hosted on GitHub communities, they get dragged into Global Campus. And this is kind of like a lot of effort that our team has been working on to make sure that you folks have access to these resources in one single spot. So, and not only that, but also for you to be able to connect with a more global community. So, if you want to check that out, that's essentially like the thing that is encapsulating everything right now. So,
yeah,
if you want to learn who is your closest campus expert, you can go to Global Campus and find that out. And
yeah,
yeah, there's a link. Thank you so much for that. Uh,
yeah,
but in essence, like if you are a student and you would like to learn more about opportunities, we also give announcements in there. If you go right now, you'll see like campus expert is part of those announcements. But yeah, take a moment to go and check that out. Global Campus is by far it's
yeah,
kind of like something that we're constantly working on to make sure that you have access to more resources, and essentially they are for free, so you can take it a go. The
yeah.
student developer
Maybe
pack
I
is your
can.
entrance. Oh yeah, go for it, go for it.
Yeah, so maybe I can share. It's one of the best platform you can say. So you basically get even the first of all, because you should be you get a student developer pack that will be easy for you basically to basically use all of the resources you can say. So in general, you basically get the what are the people they are working on it like properly each, and like if it is open source you can still contribute. So it's one of the best way basically. Like we know people are not able to use GitHub in a very proper way. Like people don't use the option of explore section. So please folks use explore section. It's really really cool stuff. You get maybe social media feed kind of vibe over it, but you can check it. If you go, if you want to contribute, if you want to use, you can get a proper featured events around it. Maybe if it is online, it's coming upcoming, or not, it is in 21st February, that is tomorrow. You can go here. You can, if you want to basically ace your coding interview and jumpstart your CS career, like properly each and everything is there. Proper live stream is also there. With like I guess you're seeing John here if you want to check it out, and more about it if you want to explore each and everything. Like simultaneously the educational blog is also there. If you want to basically explore blog section, you can also there. And yeah, there's a community exchange program. Like basically it's a majorly the whole thing if you want to basically check it out over that. But
Yeah,
maybe if John if want to add something over it, yeah, maybe.
yeah, the last thing is if you go to the student developer pack there in your browser,
Yep,
we have been developing a few experiences for you. So one of the things that we've learned through the student developer pack is that it has so many offers that it's really hard to kind of like navigate through it. So our team has been working a lot with experiences that are kind of like on the top. There you go. We just launched a new experience, which is career readiness, which is essentially a group of partners that you have access for them for free, to help you kind of get prepared for whatever comes after you graduate, either if you're building your startup or looking forward to apply for a company. These are some great resources that you might use. And this is the first time that we actually have some content for you to prepare yourself. So there's like a 4 week workshop there that I think if you click on the learn more, like the bottom of the career readiness, yeah. So if you check that out, there's like some trainings there. I'll take a look into that because I don't know if I'm seeing them there right now. Probably go down
yep, I
a little
guess.
bit more.
Yeah, I get this. Yeah, I guess maybe
There they are.
career get
So
career.
there's like 4 weeks of like things that you can do to make sure you have a good GitHub profile. Make sure that you understand what are some of your core skills, what are some skills that you can develop. So take some time to explore through that. Let us know your feedback. We just launched this, I'd say, like on Friday. So this is very, very new.
Okay.
We would love to learn it, what you think about it. And we're always open to if there's anything you would like to change, we're happy to
Yep.
take a look into it.
By the way, also try to explore code spaces if you want. Like I love that tool. I
Oh
really love
yeah.
that tool. Yeah, use that code. Like I use that basically. I basically first basically someone I guess uses earlier started with as like a side project. I guess that's what I know. But I basically been into student actually Microsoft Student Summit where basically we have a I love to have a get a chance to basically to see Satya Nadella live and kind of a talk with him. It's always a surreal moment for me where basically the director at Microsoft is actually doing some of the demos, basically using the Coplex and basically Copilot, and it's using code spaces, and it's one of the phenomenal experience you can ever seen. Like it's I will love to basically I will love to say use it and like just give you an basic thing if you want to get started with it. I will just say um, yeah, I can just share you. Let me stop. Let me go to the first thing. Yeah, before anything for the GitHub Campus Expert, you should have a student developer pack. That is must thing, folks. So first of all, get a student pack, and it is very easy. You just need a identification that you are a student or not. So yeah, and if you feel any problem around it, you can ping me or like all the socials of both of us are in the description box. You can check it out if you want.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess yeah. So majorly, what I'm saying, if you want to use GitHub code spaces, it is very easy. You just go to the any GitHub repository and use a dot button over here, and uh, directly jump to that repository to the main code spaces menu. But yeah, I hope so. We covered all the things, and I hope so it's very late from your side also, John. But yeah, thanks for joining, John. It's always loves to talk with you, and it's always I love your energy as always.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me. It's been amazing.
yeah,
I love having these opportunities, and thanks for everyone to have your coffee while watching this stream or having your breakfast.
yeah.
So have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, by the way, if you ask for the, I guess for the breakfast, I guess someone ping up here. Let me share one thing. Yeah, this is the Shashwat that he's saying, please upload the recording. I am
Classmate.
in class right now watching the stream. Yeah, we will love to we will upload this. Yeah, even though it is in the live section, you can go to if you never want to check. But yeah, I appreciate that you are seeing from class. It's always gives some motivation. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also, folks, those who are listening to us till now, we are coming with a Code Day Durg here. First time in the Chhattisgarh, we are doing Code Day. I really appreciate you. I am, by the way, regional manager over there. If you want to ask anything around Code Day, if you want to ping me, or if you want to ping Dheeraj also, he's in backstage. He's an ARM, that is assistant regional manager, and we will try to do in maybe sooner, and let you can see the social media also up, so you can check it out. And yeah, if you have any doubt, yeah, by the way, I am reviewing before Johnpa, I am reviewing 10 to 20 plus GitHub Campus Export application. So
Oh.
yeah, people
Oh.
actually reach out me reach out to me a lot. But yeah, folks, I will do it today only. Do not take tension. I will do it today only. So yeah, thanks John for joining, and yeah, see you folks maybe in some other stream some other day. And yeah, it always love to see you. So folks, see you folks. Bye bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.